Yeah, yeah, wouldn't lens. We back with another one for the youths in them. Yeah, young, brilliant minds, future in sight. Got the power to make change, make the world ignite. Let nobody say you can't achieve your dreams are seeds. Someone just watch them grow, but you gotta believe in them. The youth effect, we're raising up the youth effect. Can't hold us down. The youth effect, we breaking ground. The youth effect, they gonna hear us roar. Educate, we get the key, unlock the potential. A lesson every day, knowledge essential. Standing tall, walking proud, let your voice be heard. Unite together as one, spread the love with every word. The youth effect, we're raising up. The youth effect, can't hold us down. The youth effect, we breaking ground. The youth effect, they gonna hear us roar. Educate, we get the key, unlock the potential. A lesson every day, knowledge essential. Standing tall, walking proud, let your voice be heard. Unite together as one, spread the love with every word. The youth effect, we're raising up. The youth effect, can't hold us down. The youth effect, we breaking ground. The youth effect, they gonna hear us roar. Create, initiate, push through, no limits. Go ahead and live it up. Respect, positivity, you on your way. Break down walls, build bridges. Yeah. Up the youth.
Good evening. It's another Monday, and it's the second Monday of March. And every second week, we're going to have book club for you. Is Cat Peters Book Club, bookmarks, and the best. So we have a wonderful, wonderful program for you today with a beautiful, young, new, emerging. All these words I don't mean the same thing, but you get the picture. Author and our new co-host for our book club, Ajani. And he's gonna be awesome. I just know it's gonna be awesome. So for those of you who are coming in again tonight and are our regulars, I want to say a special thank you for putting aside a special time of your day to spend with us. We really feel honored with your presence, and we couldn't do this if you were not there to listen to us, to listen to the young people. So wherever you are on SBE Radio Canada, TDN Radio Network, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, we want to say thank you. Share the links with your friends so that they can also come. And remember, our mission here is to empower, advocate, and allow authorship to the youth to help them in creating their own narratives. So, without much ado, I'm going to pass it on to welcome our guests. Tonight we will be speaking to. I'm gonna let also Ajani introduce the topic of tonight. And let's go. Ajani, welcome and take it away.
You're muted.
Yes, mutes and unmutes at its own desire. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good
Happy
evening.
to be here. I have the pleasure of interviewing and speaking to Naomi this evening about a brilliant book, Equipped to Overcome. Hi, Naomi. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you doing today?
Doing fantastic. Happy to have you here. Could
Good to
you?
be here.
Lovely. Just to begin, can you tell us a bit about yourself, please?
Yes, so my name is Naomi Banis, and I currently live in New Jersey. I went to school for public health, and I work in the health field. A few things about me besides that, I enjoy music, dancing, being in nature, and also writing has always been something I love to do, which is why that book came about. So I'm happy to be here to talk about it and to see everyone's input.
Lovely. That sounds like you have an eclectic list of hobbies, very different.
Yes.
So, my first question would be, what first inspired you to write Equipped to Overcome? Was there a specific moment or idea or experience that led to it, or was it something that developed over time?
I would say developed over time, but I always loved writing. So I started writing when I was about 8 or 9, and I would always have a journal, always keep a journal with either songs, poems, short stories. And, going to school, you had to write essays. I grew up in Dominica. I went to convent high school. You had to write essays. You had to write all the things in detail too. So writing was always a part of me. But then growing as I got older, I started to write personal lessons. Life is full of lessons. You experience a lot of different things, different environments. And so I wanted to keep track of that. And I would just write it down in my journal or even in my notes app on my phone. But specifically, Equipped to Overcome was as I continued to learn lessons throughout life, I wanted to remember it. I didn't want to lose track of what I thought was important to move forward in life, especially as now a young adult entering a workforce or just navigating adulthood. I wanted to remind myself that no matter what I experience, I'm able to get through it, push through it, and keep moving forward in life in a healthy way.
Before we continue, I think that is something that Johnny can definitely relate to based on his own book. But before we go, I want to apologize. We're supposed to have had a third guest with us in the person of Nicole Georges Bennett. She's a mature author and editor as well. However, Nicole couldn't be with us tonight, so her segment was pre-recorded, and so we will play Nicole's recording after Naomi's interview. But one of the things that struck me, as you said about journal and essays and composition,
Mhm.
that was so striking in the same thing that Nicole mentioned. That's what got her because the little blue exercise book we used to have in Dominica, and she
Yes.
would write it in, and she spoke about journaling, and she
Mhm.
spoke about those compositions and essays that we had to, which started her also.
Yes.
So I can see the link. And Ajani, I believe when we spoke earlier too, you mentioned something about you writing down notes as well. So I
Yeah,
see there is a common thread
Yeah.
between starting up things. So you're pretty good. So thank you.
yeah, there seems to be some consistency
Yes.
Yes.
over.
So as we continue, we want to remind our audience, our listening audience, that we are speaking of on Youth Young Inc. Big Impact. Stories written by the next generation. Although I say I do not know why I put next generation because they're very much present and very much impacting the world around us. So I want to scrap that, but the very present. That's what I should say.
The
So
present
continue
generation,
the present
the
generation. Thank you.
chosen generation,
The
perhaps.
yeah.
Okay, here we go. So Big Ink, Great Impact
Current
by
impact.
the chosen
Exactly.
generation. And Naomi, Johnny was asking you about your motivation. So I'm going to allow you all to continue and I will just listen.
Sure.
Yes. So, did you have something to
No,
say?
you can go ahead. I'll have another one after.
No. No, I thought he was going to say something, but yes, it was mainly just lessons I was learning about myself, recognizing patterns in myself as well, like the fear or self doubt, not navigating insecurities or worries. And I didn't want that to hinder me from doing things in life. And that's the things that we face. Everybody has their own personal concerns, and in the book I refer to that as internal trials, because nobody really sees your insecurities on the inside. No one. You can walk into a room or a space and you can look confident, and really on the inside you might be anxious. Nobody sees that. And for me, it's like, okay, when you walk into that room, you're equipped to overcome the anxiousness that you feel right now. And you just do what you have to do, how you have to do it.
Wow. Very well said. What struck me there was your your background in health and studying health, being in the healthcare field, and you're speaking a lot in the book about your spiritual health.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems to me that those things are connected. Now, when you spoke about the motivations that you had for writing the book, you essentially said it was a lot of different notes to yourself over a long period of time, but it is now a book for everyone. So, my question is, who did you primarily have in mind while writing this book? Like, who do you hope picks it up and reads it and learns something from it? And who should feel like it was written directly for them?
Well, in the beginning of the book, there is a page that says testimony for context. And on that page, I start off by talking about how I've dealt with so much fear and anxiousness internally and how I didn't want that to impact my life. And so I think being in your adolescent ages and entering adulthood, it can feel kind of scary. You know, you're looking at the news, you're looking at everything that's going on, you're navigating a lot of new territory. And so I think anybody from age 15 and up could pick that book up and find something that they can relate to.
Wow. And even the structure of the book, I think, is phenomenal. It's more of an
Thank you.
encouragement journal,
Yes.
more so than a traditional book.
Mhm.
So, my question regarding that is, why did you feel the importance for the reader to interact rather than just read?
Of course, make it your own. You know, there are entries in there that talk about it's faith based. So I talk about God in there and how God has helped me to overcome my own, you know, believing in God has helped me to overcome my own stuff. And I think everyone is at a different pace in their life. So everyone's journey is going to look different, and that's fine. So I wanted to allow white space to allow the reader to apply what is read to where they are right now, because I can fill out every page in that book, but it will be different compared to if my friend fills it out, you know. So
Or even if you fill it out maybe a year after.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, I've done that. Actually, I have a version of it that's older from last year, and looking back, I'm like, oh, I'm not there anymore. I've grown, I've learned a lot. I see a different perspective now, and the context that I wrote it in is still valid, but what I personally wrote in there, I'm not there anymore. So it's just good to keep track and see how you're always growing, we're always evolving, and it's a beautiful thing.
That sounds lovely. It sounds like when you buy the book, you should buy two copies. Buy one for the now and buy one for later. So, for a year in advance, a year in the future, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, great idea.
Thank you, Ajani.
Of course. So, Naomi, you talk about being equipped to overcome trials. Just getting
Mhm.
a little bit more personal, trying to understand better. What do you believe most people misunderstand about suffering and challenges in their lives?
They might misunderstand that it can look different. So I know we all grew up in different time frames, and it's easy to compare. Like someone much older than me might say, "What do you have to worry about?" You know, but you know, I'm human just like you. I have emotions, the climate is different. We live in a different political climate. The expectations are different, and I just think that the trials are different, but even mentally and emotionally, it might look the same.
For sure. Agreed, 100%. Would you, just based off of that, would you, do you think that we could differentiate between trials and opportunities?
I like that question. That's a good question. I think anytime you are growing, that's an opportunity, and it's going to come with stuff, aka trials. It's never going to be easy. There will always be things to stretch you, to grow you, and to increase your own capacity. And I think that's just the whole purpose of life, because what they say, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So like you'll keep growing, you'll keep learning, and with opportunities, if it's especially if it's something you've never done before, you might have that self-doubt trying to creep in your ear and tell you like, I don't think you can do it. But then you push yourself to do it. You push yourself to go through it, and you end up coming out better at the end of it. So I do think they intersect.
Of course. Anything, Kathy?
You're doing a great job. You're doing a great job. When I have something, I will
You'll
interject.
just, all right, no problem.
Oh, you're doing great.
So, Naomi, the first section in your book is called Bold Faith is the Antidote.
Hmm.
Why do you think that bold faith is necessary in today's world specifically?
There's a lot of negativity. It's easy to listen to the negative voices, whether it's yourself, your own mind telling you that you can't do something or you can't move forward, or just externally on social media or people that's around you or whatever it might be. So bold faith for me is like you're able to push yourself to do that thing, and it has to be faith in action. Because one thing about me, I can say, I used to think I had faith, but I had to learn that real faith comes with action. You have to put it in motion for it to
Wow.
be considered faith. And so the bold part would be me getting up and moving. It's one thing for me to believe, it's a whole other thing for me to say, okay, I'm going to believe and take the step.
And that's, I can come in there. That fits directly in the Bible where it says, "Faith without works is dead." Is just about just speaking it, but it's showing it. It's not about speaking love. It's about showing love.
Yeah.
And faith becomes now an action word.
Yeah.
Faith
Yeah,
is a verb, not a noun.
Yeah.
exactly. It is a verb, not a noun. And a lot of us tend to miss that. So that's a very poignant point you made, Naomi. Thank you very much for that part. Let me just add to that. Nicole is in her interview. We spoke about difficult times and doubting, and that was one of the things. I mean, she is also faith focused and faith based,
Mhm.
and other than her faith pulling her through, she spoke a lot about working through the doubts and working through the challenges, and just, even though it's 2 minutes a day, but just keep on focusing and keeping your
Yeah.
focus on that. So
Absolutely.
for two of you, no, Ajani, as an author, now switch your hats. What would you say kept you in a space where you had your challenges?
What would I say kept me in this space? Like, kept me focused when I was
Yes.
challenged?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm constantly challenged, I would say. I, I would say faith plays a part, but that's a very good question. So for me, it's an interesting mixture of a bunch of things. So I really try to limit what comes into my mind, what comes into my head, what comes into my circle. So the things that I would read are important. The people who I listen to are important. The
Yeah.
music that I listen to is important. Whether or not I pray is important, and my overall outlook of the world is important. So therefore, I try not to interact with negativity or negative people in general. We all have our struggles and we're all enduring difficult situations. However, the outlook needs to be optimistic.
Yeah.
And you know, for me personally, when I interact with people who do not want more, who do not want to be better, or who do not see it as opportunity, if I cannot shift that in their brains, then we don't interact for long, because I've never seen myself as a victim of the world. I've always seen myself as someone with autonomy and the ability to change my circumstances, and therefore I like to be around like-minded people.
Lovely. And Naomi, you're getting some big ups there. We know who from, Hannah Mama. And we're all proud of her. And there is another listener in our audience who asks, where can I purchase a copy of your book?
So a copy can be purchased on Amazon. So if you just go through on the app and you type in "Equipped to Overcome," it will show up as, yeah, a blue and yellow copy. And if you have any questions, you can reach out.
Naomi, based on the last question, especially how rooted your book seems to be in faith,
Mhm.
how do you think I would read it if I was an atheist? And would there be something for me?
That's an awesome question.
Yeah, that's a great question. That's something that I didn't really consider when I was writing it, which so when I shared it, I put it in the category of, spirituality and Christian based. And that's something I do want to work on, is that if I had to write another book, I would make it more relatable to someone who doesn't really know God or really believe in God.
Let's reframe that. Take out the if. When I write the other book.
Oh, okay. When I write the other book,
Right.
the second book, it will be, I think, and it doesn't have to be much. It could just be me changing up the language a bit to make it more relatable, because I don't think most people who have different beliefs might not see how close it is. Like, it's not that different.
Hmm. Of course, agreed. And
There,
then,
there can be an ongoing conversation with
Mhm.
regards to the connecting thread between religions and even atheism itself. But then I can be controversial in my thoughts. So that just putting that out there. We're not so when the basic tenets.
yeah, everyone is trying to deal with the existential crisis.
Yes. Basic thing is love your neighbor as yourself, in all religions. So but anyway, that's for another conversation.
That's a rabbit hole. So, Naomi, in part two, you focus on breaking some of the strongholds that we have in the mind. In
Mhm.
your personal experience, what are some of the most common mental strongholds that people in our generation struggle with today? What do you think?
Fear.
Fear?
And then that fear shows up as different ways. So fear can show up as overthinking, you're overanalyzing everything, second guessing yourself. Maybe you're constantly thinking about the past. You want better outcomes in your future, but then you're considering all the negative things that happened before. And it's like really having to renew your mind and start thinking on things that are good, truthful, worthy of thinking. I know I've had to do that myself, thinking of my childhood and growing up, even though nothing terrible happened in my childhood, just needing to rephrase how I think about a lot of things.
For sure. And fear. When I personally think of fear, I think of lack of knowledge.
Hmm.
And I don't think that you can truly be afraid of something that you know. Because if you know about it, then
Yeah,
you can devise a plan to overcome. However, there are some things that are truly inexplicable. And is that where faith comes in?
definitely. I think faith, my mentor said this one time. She said, faith is exercised in uncertainty. So
Wow.
you need faith to even move forward. And fear is like, well, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And what if this? And what if that? You need faith to get through those what if moments. And faith actually changes your language to, what if this happens? Now, even if this happens, I know I'll be okay. Even if I experience this, I'll be able to get through it. Even if this worst case scenario were to happen, I have what it takes to keep moving forward. The only difference is I don't believe I strengthen myself. I think my strength comes from God. That's
Wow.
that's it.
That's a soundbite. Very profound. That was very profound.
What did you pick up from it, Ajani? What tell me two words from what she said reverberates with you.
I can't use two words.
Okay. A sentence.
But what stood out to me was not pulling your power from yourself. That was one part of it. The
Mhm.
second part is from what you're saying, I understand that you see fear as functional. Like it's okay to be afraid. If you're undertaking a challenge that's big enough, then you're going to be afraid, but it should not be an inhibitor. It should not stop you from doing what it is that you want to do.
Yes, like fear should not stay in the driver's seat. I know for me, it used to be like that for real, and I would just keep myself in cycles. And I didn't want that anymore, so I'm like, okay, you equipped to overcome. You can start pushing yourself to do things.
For sure. What stood out to you, Kathy?
That there are two empowering, empowered young people in front of me, and I'm so proud of you all. So proud to be in your presence. Thank you for having me here. Because
Luckily, we're also in the company of two young people.
so yeah, thank you. And it's listening to the wisdom that is just resonating with you all, especially in when we talk about fear and uncertainty. We always afraid of what we do not know. The unknown always makes us fearful. And fear is what you, as you said, is functional. We could either, in fear, we could either do fight or flight. Which one we're gonna choose?
Mhm.
You know, it's a normal human response. So it's sitting here and listening to you all, having that already at such a tender age, there is definitely hope, because a lot of us, we had to really go and find it. But now there is so much more resources and so many more mentors willing to work with the young people, or working with younger people, or even young people working with older persons is one of the things I always want to see working. Like you all right now are mentoring me in certain things, listening to different perspectives, how you all are bringing it out, so that's what's coming out to me, Ajani, that there is really wisdom right there within us.
Of course. So let's get back to some of the content of the book, Naomi. So there's a big part, a big emphasis on standing on God's word during trials. How has your own faith been tested in a way that shaped the message of your book?
I think my faith is always being tested every day.
Wow.
Because, well, let me not say it's being tested. I just think I have to keep exercising it, keep reminding myself of it. Like, because it's easy for anything that's, if I experience anything that I haven't done before, then I'm gonna be anxious about it. I'm human, and then I have to remind myself, okay, maybe I write down some scriptures that I hold on to in one season of my life, and maybe right now is Isaiah 41, verse 10. Do not fear, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will help you. I will strengthen you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. So sometimes I just have to repeat it to myself to be able to know, like, why are you afraid? Or, bringing myself back to the moment that I'm in right now. I think it all comes down to being in the moment too, and not allowing your mind to go too far into next week and next month or your to do list, what you have to do later on today or tomorrow, and just focusing on where you are and knowing that the most effective way to steward what you have in front of you is to be where you are. You cannot be thinking about every other thing and expect to take care of what you have in front of you, whether it's at work, at home, cooking, cleaning, anything. Whatever you do, you focus on it. And that can be hard because you're wanting to do everything and have everything together. But I think being gentle with yourself, and that's something I'm also working on as well.
Being gentle with yourself. Describe that.
So in the book, there's a section that talks about overcoming self sabotage. And I talk in brackets, I talk about perfectionism, comparison, and something else. I don't remember. But for me, that was just my self sabotage behaviors or mindsets that I had. And that's not really being gentle with myself. I cannot, if I'm continuing to move forward in life, I can't be hard on myself to know everything or have it all together when it's my first time experiencing life, you know? So that's something I tell myself too. It's your first time experiencing life. So
Oh,
just take it day by day and learn what you can. Don't let pride get in the way of asking for help or saying that you don't know how to do something. It's okay. And I think that's being gentle with myself.
and
How has it been for you as a young person asking for help or reaching out to help for help?
Um, It's good. I think it's good because there are people around me who are able to help me or even tell me that to call me out when I'm overthinking or to call me out when I'm not really thinking of something in a way that could have more perspective. So I'm grateful for that. And I can think back to college as well. That's, I think, where I struggled to ask for help. But I had friends and they could see that need and help me with it in that way.
And a big part of it was you having to be receptive.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Being receptive to help. Yeah.
How was asking for help been for you, Ajani?
still working on it. I
Do you
don't.
think it is a thing um, in the same context with the topic with the book? Do you think there's a disparity between being male and being female in being able to reach out for help, or it's just a personal thing on your journey?
How politically correct would you like me to be in my response?
Be as real as you can be.
Mm.
Feel
Well,
comfortable.
yeah, there is a disparity, and by nature there should be to some degree. If as a young man, there's some point where you realize that your best interest is not going to be taken into consideration for the most part, and whatever it is that you plan to accomplish, you better set the foundation and build it yourself. Now, that is not necessarily the best way, but at some point you kind of figure that out, and then at some point you outgrow that as well and realize that there are some people with your best interest. But I can specifically point to a time where I realized that, wow, okay, I really have to figure this out on my own, and no one can do it for me. Growing up is realizing that no one can do it, but others can help.
Yeah. I think, can I add to that?
Sure, of
It's
course.
not like the gender perspective, but I think I had that realization one time too, is that there are certain things only you can do for yourself because we all have to be self-sufficient, but also we need each other. And that's another faith belief that I have, is that God places gifts and talents in each of us, and then you come together and you make life work.
Awesome. That is wonderful. And I stand with Portia, who says, despite all the negativity often directed at young people, both of you, amazing young adults, remind me that the future is still bright and very hopeful. I believe so, Portia. They're really inspiring.
Thank you,
Really
Portia.
inspiring. Yes.
Wow. And
Go ahead.
well, Naomi, so I interface with a lot of people who are Christian as well, but people from other religions and different walks of life.
Yeah.
But specifically for Christians or people who believe in God in general, well, many people believe in God but struggle to live life like overcomers. What do you think is the difference between believing and truly living in your truth as an overcomer?
Great question.
Thank you.
Um, so, well, I've had to grow in that as well. I always thought I believed in God because growing up, I my parents raised me to believe in God. But then you grow, you as I got older, I learned about having a relationship over just, going to church and doing all the things. So a relationship with God has helped me with that. And I think that living as an overcomer is just choosing to keep his word close to you so we can go back to standing on that word and actually doing what it says. Because I can read the Bible, I can quote scripture and never do it, then I don't get to experience what it's talking about. Like the peace that surpasses all understanding, or having freedom in your mind, or healthy connections with people. It really takes applying the word to your life. And I had to learn that too through quote unquote failure, not doing it and then realizing it.
Wow. And just playing devil's advocate here, based off of that point, morality wise, would it be better to be a non Christian who's never read the Bible, but live a life that is in proper accordance with the scriptures? However, you just never came across the scriptures.
Mm.
Or be someone who is raised and indoctrinated in the Christian realm of things, but lives totally differently from the word.
You're asking, would it be better? Like, which
Or
one's better?
yeah,
Um,
because we're saying that faith is more of a verb than a noun.
Faith is action. Yes.
yeah, I think faith definitely, it takes action to complete it. Like, it's one thing for me to believe, but I think for me to be knowledgeable of it, but I think the belief comes in action. Like, I'm going to show you my belief based on what I do. So which one is better? I don't know if either one is better. I think we're all, no matter who you are or where you are in your life, you're still learning. We're always learning, and it's going to keep on being like that.
Well,
For
I
sure.
love that question, Ajani, because just over the weekend, my girls and I were having that very same conversation. Um, where we're trying to figure out where someone had told my daughter about being, they're having a conversation that if you do not follow a specific religion, that you'll be doomed to hell, regardless if you were a good person following all goodness, all the tenets of and principles of living a good life. You actually are doing what the Bible says, just that you do not follow any particular book. How do you manage being cast out, or ostracized because you do not follow Christ, or you do not follow Buddha, or you do not follow that Islam,
Muslim, yeah.
Muslim?
Yeah.
Yes, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Just being a good person, does that cast you out from, quote unquote, if there is a heaven afterwards, or is heaven right here with us? There's so many questions that come up from that. And that's an extremely, extremely good conversation and question that you ask with regards to morality and goodness overall.
Yeah, it's a fascinating one to ask a Christian, people who were raised within a Christian doctrine, specifically because if you look at the majority of the world's religions, or let's say the top three, well, you can disrespect Christ in a Christian nation and it will be okay. But you cannot disrespect Allah in a Muslim nation, if that makes sense to you guys. Like there are very strict penalties around those things in other nations. So if you look at Christianity on a whole, I would call it the most inclusive religion.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I think it's a fascinating question, because what that is where do we draw the lines as Christians? Where do we say that no one is no longer welcome, or not necessarily no longer welcome, but where do we draw our boundaries as Christians? That's what that question is getting at.
We had a very good comment from being tuned in. It said, very interesting explanation of the correlation between basic human challenges and faith. that which is believing for the intervention of God, which is a supreme, who is a supreme being in our certain specific circumstances. And yeah, thank you very much. Very good articulation by all three. Thank you so much. We do our best. And it is an ongoing thing. It's really, that part is an ongoing conversation for young people, because it's very impressive, for the want of a better word, to see you all and Naomi so grounded, because we can say with all the distractions there are with today, and the drive to follow the crowd, you know,
Right.
as opposed to staying grounded in your faith and in what you believe in. A lot of our young people, they do not know who they are, where they are, who what space they're in, and they're just going. And a lot of people now say that they're lost. I tend to say it differently, can tend to not agree, and that's okay. I don't believe we are lost. When people say, "Oh, I am finding myself," we haven't been lost. We are always there. It's just that with so much of the baggage and everything else that has been consuming us, we have lost sight of who we are. And sometimes, if we come into the world very early with a lot of trauma, we do not know who we are,
Mhm.
because from since we know ourselves, we know the trauma.
Yeah, you've
We
only
have
known
been cloaked
pain.
in something. So when you say finding yourself, is about digging deep and going within yourself. And another thing, when your book pulls out for me, say equipped to overcome, it's basically the same thing. I'm in the holistic space as well, faith, wellness, mindfulness, and flipping it around in a different way. Equipped to overcome is equipped, already saying you have what you need.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You have everything that you need. And in
Yeah.
the mindfulness space as well, we say that everything you need is within you.
Hmm.
You just have to believe it and sit down quietly and do your own reflections, which, from what I'm hearing from you, you have had to do a lot of deep reflections to be where you are at right now. So you pulled out your tools, your hammer here, you do like a chisel in here, the screwdriver here, you use a Phillips head. No, that one not going with that one. You need what is it, a flathead? You need this one.
Wow.
You need different tools for different situations. And hearing you speak about and quoting your scriptures and everything else helps you to be so grounded. And speaking about your friends and your family, who have provided a level of support, is very, very encouraging for a lot of people who do not have. What would you say or share with those who do not have that level of support and have to go the way on their own?
You mean like doing life by themselves?
But they feel they are not equipped. But we know everybody has what they need. So how would you share that with them? Somebody who's listening, who feels that they are stuck and they cannot move forward because they do not know how to.
Are we saying moving forward is in general or specific to what, like just
Getting unstuck, whatever that may mean to
their
them.
their life around or whatever?
Yes.
Okay.
Moving from one leg in front of the other. For some people, that is a heavy task.
Yeah.
So whatever that one step is, what would you say to encourage a young person who feels that they do not have the support or the tools to live?
I would say that we mentioned earlier how faith is exercised in uncertainty, and wanting to take a step to do something different in your life can feel scary. It might look scary, and you might not see the resources that you have, and you might not feel like you have access to it. But until you take a step, you won't really know what's on the other side of it. And anytime that you keep moving forward, it will get you somewhere. And then when you get to that next step, you gather your new resources that you have, you gather your new information that you have, and you keep moving forward. So I think if you just stay in the same place, And you don't get it, stays in you. You stay in your mind, you stay to yourself. You never get to see what's on the other side of it. For example, if I want to open up a business, but I'm anxious about the market, or I'm scared that, if everybody making fries and chicken, and I want to do fries and chicken too, but
That's
I'm like,
Dominica's national dish, by the way. Continue.
if I want to do fries and chicken too, but I'm like, well, they already doing it already, so why do I have to do it? Or how can I be successful at this? You don't know until you try. You have to take the step, and then when you try it, you see where you get. And then even if, there goes that faith language, even if it doesn't go exactly as planned, you can always pivot and make an adjustment. So you move to the left, move to the right, or you add something to your menu. You pivot and you make adjustments. But guess what? You never know who you'll meet along the way too. So
That's
just
right.
try it. You meet somebody, they give you ideas, or maybe you two can come together and make something greater. So there's always hope. You just never know. And that's something I've had to learn too, is just take the step, take the opportunity. You never know what you'll get out of it, and you keep going. And that's something my parents, my siblings, everybody in my life has to keep telling me, because sometimes I will keep myself stuck and say, oh, I don't think I can take this opportunity, or I don't think I have what it takes, or I don't think I know everything to be able to do this thing well. But then they push me to do it too, some tough love. Like, they
You
push
don't
me to
have to,
do
you
it.
don't have to have everything for you to start. You just start. And
Yes.
it is in starting and moving that you gather what you need.
Yep.
On this note, we're gonna break for a word from our sponsors, and we're just gonna hold on to that word hope that Naomi has been speaking to us about, which is kind of the underlying thread throughout this whole conversation: hope and faith. And Naomi, get that scripture for us that talk about hope and faith. When we come back, you let
Okay.
us know. Okay, see you in a while. Stay tuned with us.
Running a radio station shouldn't be chaos. It should be simple, smart, and professional. With Joan Premium, your entire week schedule is beautifully organized and easy to manage. Real-time accuracy keeps your listeners in sync with every show. Your visitors and audience sees the right schedule every time, wherever they are. They can even choose different time zones. From analytics to social media and native app integration, Joan Premium is the professional tool your station deserves. You're never alone. We provide priority support for active license users. We're building a community. Connect with broadcasters worldwide through our Joan Community Hubs. Choose your plan, annual flexibility, or lifetime freedom. Get Joan Premium today. www.gndenterprisesinc.com or call 877-698-9894 for more information.
Thank you for holding on with us, and we appreciate your presence. Remember, you are looking at the Youth Effect. I am your host, Kathy Robinson Sayan, with my co-host tonight being Ajani Joseph. Our very young live guest is Miss Naomi Mbanis, author of Equipped to Overcome. And after which we will play for you the pre-recording of our other author, Mrs. Nicole Georges Bennett. Welcome back, guys. And Ajani, it's your show.
No, it's not my show.
It's your
It's
show.
Naomi's show.
Take it away. Oh, I stand corrected. It's not your show.
So we left off on the word faith, Naomi. And you said that faith is tested during uncertainty.
Mm-hmm.
So if I were to be reading this book, if I was reading this book whilst going through the biggest peril or the biggest hard time of my life, what is the one truth that you would hope that I walk away with from your book?
Well, seeing that it's more of a journal experience with the book, I would hope that you would find an entry that you can relate to from the titles of each one and read it, and hopefully you're able to relate to it. So if you're going through a really tough time and you don't know what's happening, I would probably recommend page 14 where it says tangible trust in God. And for me, I'll give you the backstory of that. It's basically saying that I can say, or we can say that we trust God, but that trust has to be made real through action, of course. And it kind of goes into faith in action. So you're going through a tough time, but there are always solutions. There's always something you can do to take a step, like we said earlier. And so you just have to take that step, even if it feels hard. Some things feel hard, but it's really necessary. So,
For sure. Agreed. 100%. I mean, it's always more difficult to swim upstream,
yeah.
but that's the goal. And if readers fully embrace the message of Equipped to Overcome, how do you think their daily lives and behaviors would change?
I think it would go back to being in the moment more and being mindful of the decisions that we make and the posture that we're making it out of. So I know I mentioned how fear used to be in my driver's seat. So all of my decisions would be based off of that, or most of them. And then as I continue to grow in my relationship with God, it's more based on the principles of, godly wisdom. So peace, patience, learning to persevere. Sometimes you really do have to sit in some things instead of wanting to go your own way. You kind of have to stay there and see what comes out of it, if that answers your question.
Of course, it does. My next question, as we start wrapping up here, is what is in your driver's seat now? Who is in your driver's seat?
Faithfulness.
And
I say that because, like I said, every day my faith is being tested. So I wake up in the morning, I give thanks for life, and I go about my day. And as I go throughout my day, I have to remind myself to be in the moment that I'm in. So even when I get anxious or I get worried, I'm able to be more self-aware of it and redirect that. So that's why I say faith is in my driver's seat. It doesn't mean that I don't get scared, I don't get anxious. I do get that, but I learn how to redirect it.
and who else is in the car?
My family, maybe. No, for real, because they get the text messages like, hey, do you think I should do this? Do you think I can do that? So the people around me are in it too, and they get to encourage me as well, which I'm very grateful for that. This is not a one-person show.
Yeah, that support system is very important. Super important. I would just taking a look at your book, I would recommend that if someone were to read it, I think they should get someone close to them to read as well simultaneously, because there are a lot of growing opportunities for both people and to build that communal bond as you grow together. Also, something that fascinated me about it was all of the white space and what that does is it shows me something that I've thought about before, but which is you are giving me space to reveal me to myself,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense to you.
Yep.
And
And that's very powerful.
Yes.
yeah, and I found that profound, like
Yeah.
deliberate white space for
Mhm.
that.
Yes. Make it your own. Personalize your experience.
How many have you been through so far?
Experiences?
No, books.
Um, I have two older versions, but I think only one of them is full of writing. So, and then
Oh,
this one is empty. I just
is-
carry it with me.
that's the one to show.
Yes, but
Yeah,
guess what though? I need to work on that. I need to work on putting it out there more.
for
So,
sure.
mhm.
And that will come with time.
Yes, I'm not
Well,
forcing it at all.
for sure. I always encourage you to keep at least two copies on hand for
Okay.
yourself, two brand new ones. Is every time I travel, I keep one in my carry on, and I never come back with it. Someone,
Oh, so you spark conversation with someone.
yeah, or the other way around. It doesn't matter, but I end up speaking to people, and I attempt to live in my truth, and
Okay.
and so it may come up during the conversation. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's not something that I say. So I'm not trying to really sell it.
I feel that.
Yeah. But if it comes up, it comes up, and if they're
Yeah,
interested, yeah, we'll give them a copy, get them a copy.
nice.
But I think you have a lot of valuable lessons in there, and I'm happy that you took all the lessons that you journaled and wrote down and put it in a digestible format for a lot of people to have, as opposed to keeping it for yourself. I think that you did the world a great service by doing that, and I think that might even be overcoming fear. Been a
Yes,
good example of that.
yes, it was because when you, well, thank you first of all, but when you think about putting yourself out there, for me, that was part of that. And I could think of all the reasons not to do it, like the opinions of others, or what if they say this, or what if they say that? But that was the whole point, right? You're equipped to overcome, so you might as well just do it, put yourself out there, and see what comes out of it. And even if the one person it helped was me, or maybe just one more person in my life, that would have been enough. Just to know that something in there, someone found it helpful. It's good.
But
For sure.
I will challenge you all to go the extra step. That seeing that both of you have written two powerful pieces of literature um, that is providing from your experience, but also will help support and motivate other young people. That not that you're pushing it on others, but to encourage you to stir your conversations
Hmm.
towards the work that you all have done. A light is not lit to be hid under a bush. Okay. Um,
The Bible
Otherwise
says that too.
it's just going to be a smoke, and then you all are two bright lights, and it's not to be hidden. Oh, is this the light of mine? Okay, I cannot go sing anymore for you. Okay, here you
I
go.
don't
That's
know that
right.
song.
You don't know that
Yes,
song?
you do, Ajani. Stop
Never
It's
heard it
playing.
the light
before.
of mine. I'm gonna let it shine.
What's that? Is that
Don't
like
let
a
Satan blow it out.
is it like a new song? Did it just come out this year?
No.
I haven't been listening to modern music,
I
so
That's
think
not
you know
modern
the song, you
music.
just don't remember. And
You
it's
don't
okay.
remember. It's not in preschool everywhere.
It's okay. It's
oh wow.
Maybe you don't remember, Jan. That's a basic song in Dominican society. Children growing up. Anyway,
Hide it
if you've
under the
never heard
bush.
it
No
before,
way.
if
I'm
you've
gonna
never
let
heard it before, you're hearing it thank
Thank
Don't
you.
let Satan blow it out. Let your light shine. Okay. And so I looked up the I know the scripture, but I could remember where it was from, Naomi. It's in Hebrews 11:1, where it says, "Now faith is a substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen." So when you spoke about the tangibleness of faith, this is right there.
Mhm.
Everything is packaged right here: faith, hope, and tangibility. We cannot see it, we cannot prove it otherwise, but we know it exists. We
Yeah.
know God is holding us right there. We know He's there. His presence is with us, and you just use the tools He's given you and
Yes. The
go for it.
resources.
Use your resources. Yeah.
When we go back to the question you asked about what would I tell a young person who doesn't feel like they have direction or anything, it would
Mhm.
also be that don't let fear get in the way of using the resources around you. And
Mhm.
resources include people. It could be
Mhm.
a business, something that someone is selling, or just anything,
Mhm.
or free resources as well. Just anything that's around you can be useful. So don't let fear keep you from asking questions or asking for help, or just reaching out to someone, because most people are more than happy to help you, or more than happy to redirect you to where you can get what you need.
And fear can also show up as procrastination. We always
Oh
have the excuse, "I'm tired. It's not today. I have this to do." So
yeah.
yeah, it's really about that too.
Yes.
So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank
You are awesome, and we're really looking forward to this next book.
you.
Whether it's a
Me too.
sequel to this one or something totally different. But as you mentioned, God gave a gift.
Mhm.
We also know the stories about the talents.
Oh yeah.
When if you don't use the gifts and the talents, they will be taken back from you. So we need to
Yeah.
use it. And that is also for the adults in the audience who are listening. What would be your three things you want to share with adults tonight?
Oh, uh, three things to share with adults. I really want to think about it before I share it. But I would say it's not too late. I say this because on social media, I see a lot of posts where people ask questions and they're saying, "Is 35 too late to change my career, or is this age too? Is this too late to talk to my kids or fix things that were broken before?" I guess. And the response is always, "It's not too late." I think there's always grace in our lives to make a different decision. And yeah, that'll be number one. Number two would be, don't let fear get in the way of things that you really want to do. And number three, just talk to people. You know, Maya Angelou said, "We're more alike than we are different." So just reach out, and there are no limits to who can have what you need. So someone younger than you can help you with what you need. You just never know. So
Definitely, definitely. I like that you emphasize the point about it could be somebody younger than you, because in the beginning, in our first season, that's one of the things that we advocated for. All the older persons to get a mentor, a younger mentor, to can
mhm.
help us bridge the generations,
Yeah,
and help us to understand each other. As you said, share that quote with Maya Angelou is so powerful. We are more alike than we are different. And
yeah.
that's really, really, really very true. Ajani, what would you like to leave us with from what you shared with Naomi this evening? You all did a very powerful episode.
Do it even when you are afraid.
Yeah.
I think those are Naomi's words. but that's stuck with me. Do it. Do the thing.
Agreed.
And Naomi takes her refuge in the scripture, and a lot of people do. And you mentioned something because with atheists and people may not believe in God particularly. You know that we can always stand in a neutral space where we give everybody grace and different ways in we might say, well, just do it. Naomi goes to her Bible. What about those who do not go to their Bible to get this encouraging word? For me, I breathe, I stop, I ground myself. Not that I believe in God as well, but these are also coping skills. And but for those who do not have those things, there are other ways in which you can ground yourself as well. Um, so we can sit. You can sit with your feet on the ground, and we can all join with it. You can sit straight with your back up. We can just gonna give a little breathing lesson in terms of helping you to relieve that level of fear that you're going through and anxiety within the moment. So you can just sit with your back straight, your feet on the ground, or you can curl yourself up on your chair, tuck your feet on, and whatever makes you comfortable. It's okay. But just relax yourself into your chair, and you can either close your eyes or slant your eyes down to the floor and take a deep breath in. You just focus on your breath. Make it come all the way down from your pelvis. You breathe in deeply. Breathe it in and breathe out. Breathe it in and exhale. And to even help you to focus, you can use a mantra. I know my mother used Jesus. Sometimes I use I am, I use so hum, because sometimes a lot of people say I cannot focus. I cannot relax like this. So when you put your focus on a word, on a specific word, on a specific image, it helps you bring that focus streamline. So we're just gonna do it for 30 seconds. Can we? Use whatever word that comes to your mind and just do it for yourself. Relax your shoulders, let it go. You're sitting in a chair, it's going to hold you, so you don't have to tighten yourself. And you imagine when you're breathing in, how much awareness you bring in yourself to the amount of tension you're carrying. So take a deep breath in. Imagine it's coming up all from your toes. Breathe it in. Imagine the breath coming up through your chest, up through your throat, and exhale. And as you're exhaling, you're just relaxing the shoulders and sitting more deeply into your chair. Just take a deeper breath again. Inhale deeply through your mouth. Lift your neck so the breath comes in. And exhale. Relax the shoulders. And let's do this one more time. Breathe in deeply. In and exhale. And just stay there for a minute. Woo. There are different ways to relax. It doesn't matter what it looks like for you, and different ways in developing coping skills, however you want to reframe it. But thank you so much, Naomi. This was awesome. It reminds us that, yes. One last word from you. You want to leave us with?
I would just encourage everyone to keep moving forward, hold on to hope in your life, appreciate the people around you because that's really what you have, and make the most out of every opportunity.
Yeah. Ajani,
Last word.
what would you like to share? Not necessarily your last word. We're going to say thank you to Naomi, but you're going to stay on. We're going to go into the second segment where we're going to show the recording with Nicole, but I don't want you to go yet. but just to share.
Yeah, for sure. And Naomi, for sure. Very grateful for your time this evening and sharing your message with all of our viewers, and even beyond that, with having the faith and overcoming the fear to put yourself out there and give the world this wonderful work. And hopefully, this is not the last time.
Yes, hopefully. Thank you for having me. This was good. I enjoyed it.
Perfect.
Perfect.
We'll have you again
Yes, you
in
will.
the process of the next book.
Exactly.
Yeah. So thank you for watching the Youth Effect. This we are speaking to Naomi Banis, who wrote this faith journal, Equipped to Overcome, reminding us that we have been blessed and graced with everything God has given us, His strength, His presence, His arm, His hand, where we can sit in this presence and go through our challenges. And so we want to thank. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you. We're going to go into a second segment. It's going to be a little longer tonight because I did a interview with Nicole. Oh my goodness, Nicole blew me away with her story and her journey, and it's something that a lot of us can relate to. So before I go on to Nicole, because we're just going to let it play, Ajani, are you still there?
I'm here.
Okay. How do you feel about our session tonight?
I
So
felt
far.
that when, yeah, well, so far, I think that Naomi did a phenomenal job. I think she has very good perspective, and she's also very optimistic.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the world, young people especially, but the entire world can benefit from that optimism
Mm-hmm.
and that mindfulness and that self-reflection.
What would you say to other young authors coming out right now?
Do the work. Do
Mm-hmm.
the work. That's it.
But I don't know how to do the work.
Nobody knows how to do the work, but you start doing it. It will reveal itself to you. And there are resources out there.
And by being
You,
present and being aware of who the messengers are.
exactly. Well, you know better than I do. Wow.
No, we all are in it together. Thank you, Tony.
Well,
Tony, thank you, Tony. We appreciate you for being here. God bless you too. We always take blessings.
God
Thank you,
bless you.
Kathy, Ajani, and Naomi. May God bless you with great success and guidance. And by you just being here, it makes it successful. So thank you so much by sharing it with your network as well. It's for all of us to support each other. So it's so. When is your next book coming out, Ajani?
I have to write it first.
Somebody back probably saying, you're asking people when is yours coming out, Kathy. We'll see.
Yeah. I think very important is one of the most important things is to have content and valuable lessons or things of value to give to the people. And I don't think that I've lived enough life in between the first and whatever comes next. I think I have a lot of the same beliefs still.
Okay.
Hopefully, I will get I will be blessed with the obstacles in my life where my beliefs are challenged.
I like the mindset. Love it.
Can I add to that though?
Yeah.
Real quick, because I know you have to play
That's
the other
fine.
end.
That's fine. Go ahead. It's okay.
You know the content creators who just post their day in the life stuff. Sometimes I read the comments on them, and people get a lot from it without you knowing that they're getting a lot from it. So it doesn't have to be so like faith focused or obstacle focused, but sometimes just you showing your life and what you do,
Showing up.
and just
Yes.
just the authentic part of it, people relate to it, and it does something bigger than you could ever imagine.
That
Yeah.
is true.
Yeah, don't limit yourself. Just get a camera and record.
For sure. That
Mhm.
might have to be.
Or
We'll
you
have
can
to look
write.
into
You
that.
know, writing might be your thing. I don't know.
Mm. No, it wasn't. It was my
Okay.
first attempt. I was never a writer. I'm more of a numbers, or I was more of a numbers person, or so I thought before that. But I think in numbers.
Thinking numbers and writing letters. Like girls say, for me, you laugh at your own jokes. Yes, I do. I entertain my own self. So, yes, we're going to go on this note that to think and to just do it. And as Naomi said, just be your authentic self and just show up. Show up for yourself, show up in the world just as you are, real, raw, authentic.
Yes.
Okay. And yes, on that note, finally, we're going to go off into Nicole's interview. Thank you guys so much. I
Thank
appreciate your
you.
Thank you.
Johnny. This is your first co-hosting of Bookmarks and Best. We'll see you next month
For
with
sure,
our
I'll be
next
back.
guest. Of course, you'll be back.
All
Thank
right.
you so much again, guys. Talk
Thank you.
soon. Okay. Okay. Good evening. And we are on a segment of the Youth Effect pre-recorded on March 8th, which we're celebrating International Women's Day. And so, in light of that, we have a very special lady here in honor of Women's Day, which is a time to honor our achievements, our voices, and our leadership of women across generations, across cultures, across religions, basically in all our cycles of life. So today's conversation is going to be centered around a powerful theme where we're talking about Young Ink, big impact, stories written by the next generation. Really, I don't know why I put next generation because I never like to hear next generation because they are living in our present right now. They're very much our world, very much our leaders presently and growing. And young people are not only reading books, they are writing them, shaping narratives, and using their storytelling to express their identity, creativity, and also impact social change. To help us explore this idea, we are joined by an accomplished author whose experience and wisdom remind us that stories are bridges between generations. We welcome our guest of honor today, Nicole Georges Bennett, who was born and raised in, well, no other than the Nature Isle of Dominica. She has worked as a journalist in radio, television, and print for over 20 years. Her career includes stints as a radio announcer, reporter, and television anchor at several Dominican and Canadian media houses, including her writings. And so we're going to allow Nicole to share her passion and share the rest of her story with us from where she started and what inspired you to become a writer. Nicole?
Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction, Kathy. It is my absolute honor to be here today, and I want to wish all of the ladies who are tuned in a very special International Women's Day, and of course to you as well, Kathy. And thank you for allowing me to come on and talk about something that I am so passionate about, which is, of course, writing. So I think I started writing like most kids our age back in the day, in the olden days. um, Filling out those little blue exercise books with short stories, and I would write like one story would be per book, because I had such a vivid imagination back in those days. And my favorite subjects at school was what we call composition. So that was where you were allowed to really explore and use your imagination and create your own stories. So I absolutely loved English literature, and composition was like my favorite. So I've always had a real calling, I would like to call it, for writing. And recently I started branching off into actually publishing my work. So I'm a self-published author, and I've been doing that for the last 12 years or so. And I actually started when I was 40, so not quite a youth, but still young at heart.
Yes, the youth effect is the conduit for voices that would guide, empower, impact, also support the young people in creating their narratives. So in this season two, we have really veered off into bringing experts on as well to give their voice, to support, to guide. And so, as you say, youth at heart, because all the benefit is about and the focus is about the young people. In the first season, we focused on mainly youth voices. But this season, so yeah. So you're one of our honored guests driving this level of empowerment and raising the level of advocacy for our young people so that their narratives and their voices will be heard, because so many times it is not. We have a lot of stigma and bias when it comes to young people. We had our own in our days, and every generation has its own. And the same way that you came into your own with writing, being able to express yourself. Well, let me not say it for you. What did writing do for you back then?
So I was a pretty quiet child, and quiet in terms of I did not have a lot of friends. My background was that my mother was Barbadian and my father was Guyanese, and I was living in Dominica. So I had a very multicultural Caribbean, regional upbringing. And so that did not always help me in school to identify or to connect with my Dominican fellow students. So books were my friends, and writing really gave me a place to be creative, and it gave me sort of a safe space, to express myself. Nobody was going to be making fun of me for my accent or, my ideas or the way that I was raised. So writing was the place where I could really just be myself and allow my imagination to roam. So it was a lifesaver in some ways.
Nice, nice. And at that time, did you envision that writing would have become such an important part of your life?
I think that I always knew I was going to be a writer. I think I always knew it was going to have some place in my life. But I initially I started off thinking that I was going to go into law, because in our family there are a lot of lawyers and a lot of judges and a lot of prominent jurists. So I thought that law was going to be my chosen profession, and I actually did do a year of law. But God has other plans. So
Yes.
I ended up going into journalism, and through journalism, of course, really, it's really there that the writing skills um, began to be honed, and I was able to then translate those skills into fiction writing, which is where I am today and what really sparks my joy, to borrow from Marie Kondo.
Oh, nice. So in terms of your fiction writing, why did you choose, what really brought you into majorly set on fiction? And why would you believe that your words would really impact readers there?
So I'll be honest, I had no idea if anybody would be interested in what I had to say. But I was so impacted by the writers that I read growing
Mm-hmm.
up that it's like how they say iron sparks iron. So
Yes.
I really was inspired by what I read, and it sparked new ideas in my head, and I wanted to get that out and to share that with others. But because my niche is also science fiction and fantasy, I did not know if people would be interested in what I had to say. So because I kind of it's now more common, but back when I sort of started, which was about 10 or 12 years ago, Black women, Black Caribbean women writing science fiction and fantasy was still a minority of a minority, and it has improved now. I mean, we do have some best-selling authors of color, women of color, but especially in science fiction and fantasy, it was sort of seen as a white genre. And so I really did not know when I got started whether people would be interested in what I had to say, because I sort of approached science fiction from a Caribbean perspective, because of course, you are where you're raised, you are what your
Right.
environment, has molded you to be.
Right.
So that's the perspective that I write from.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I felt that there must be other people like me who are interested in this genre. Science fiction and fantasy is huge in terms of Hollywood movies, comic books, and Marvel, DC.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a very lucrative and productive part of Hollywood movie making. So I thought that perhaps there was a little space for me that I could, a little niche that I could fill. And I'm happy to say that there are people who've read my work and who come back to me and say, "You're weird." You have a very, you're very quirky. You have a unique sensibility, but I like it. It's different. You write in a space where very few people of color and very few women write, and very few Dominicans. I may be the only Dominican for all I know, who writes very much in that genre. I am part of Piton Noir, which is a group of Dominican writers who write science fiction and fantasy, and that is our focus. But in terms of published books of science fiction, I'm probably one of a few Dominican women who do that.
And kudos to you.
All glory to God.
Kudos to you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Take your praises. Flowers. I'm handing you flowers. So
Thanks.
great stuff. So in light of that, where have you, from where you were 12 years ago to now, what has your growth been like?
It has been fast paced. I have really had to learn on the fly in some cases, because the publishing industry has changed so dramatically over the last 20 years, 15 to 20 years. And when I came in, self-publishing was just becoming a thing. Prior to, let's say, Amazon and KDP, Kindle, creating a platform for writers to self-publish. Self-publishing was sort of seen as a vanity project, or for vanity projects. And what I mean by that, it was the idea that your writing wasn't good enough for a traditional publisher to be interested in or to pick up. So you are now writing this because it's your pride that makes you think you're good enough to publish. So
Okay.
self-publishing was seen as amateur hour. If you were really any good as a writer, a traditional publisher, the Barnes and Nobles and the Collins and, those major publishing houses, they would want you. They'd be interested in you. But if you're self-publishing, this is just you trying to make people believe that you're a writer, but you're not really a writer, or you're not good enough as a writer. That whole perspective has changed drastically. And what we're now seeing is that traditional publishers are now seeking out self-published authors
Okay.
to join their roster, because
Okay.
they realize that there are a lot of great writers who maybe just didn't get the opportunity. They ended up in a slush pile. And for those of you who may not know what a slush pile is, it's basically when you send your work to a publisher, or, well, I'm using journalist language, but when you send your work to a publisher, there's so many applications or so many manuscripts that they receive that it becomes just a huge pile, and they get to it if they get
When
to
they get to it.
and
Yeah.
when they get to it. And that could mean that your work is sitting there for like 6 months to a year. And then, chances are they just discard it because they just can't, because
Right.
it's a continual stream of manuscripts that they receive. So
Okay.
a lot of self-publishers found that that was what was happening to their work, but there's some very talented writers out there, but they weren't
Yeah.
getting a chance. So
Mhm.
what Amazon and these other self-publishing platforms have created is now an opportunity for you to showcase your work and to let the reading public be the judge if you're
Yeah.
any good or not. And yeah, so a lot of self-published authors are now becoming the new faces of the bestsellers lists, and
Mhm.
traditional publishers are now seeking them out and asking them to join their ranks.
Should have.
So it's, so
Yeah.
like I said, a drastic change has happened, and it's been wonderful to be a part of that wave, to seeing a place where we are able to promote our work, um, write what we want to write, and still be able to win the hearts of fans and readers.
It's great to see that the landscape has changed,
Mhm.
as well as the challenges. Well, women will always have challenges historically in all
Mhm.
areas of life. It is, and we will keep on pushing through, in publishing, in storytelling, in politics, in social justice, just to name it. And I hear a very strong message coming from you in that persistence and having the level of confidence that you are just as good and even better, and to keep pushing through. It resonates very loudly with you. Have you always been so confident about your work?
Confident about my work, I would say I'm still not as confident about my work as I could be.
Okay.
But and I thank you for, hearing that message, because that is a very important message that I'm still trying to impart to others, even while I'm working on it myself.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, my work is quite niche, and it appeals to a certain sector of readers,
Mm-hmm.
but the need to believe in yourself and to believe in your work is paramount. You can't get anywhere if you don't believe that you have something to say and that you have something of value to
Mm-hmm.
share. So I would strongly encourage anyone who is probably looking at me and thinking, well, yeah, you've had a few years to kind of develop the confidence. And I would say, no, I think especially for writers, every manuscript, every new work is sort of an agony of indecision and self-doubt. But I think where we excel is by through that, pushing through the self-doubt, pushing through the, oh, this is just rubbish. Nobody's ever going to read this. You have to
Mm-hmm.
push past those voices
Mm-hmm.
and get your work out there, because you never know who it's going to impact, and who for whom it could be
Right.
um a life-changing moment, when that moment they
That's
pick
right.
up that book and they maybe see themselves in your work in a way that they never have before, and they realize, no, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one who's going through, these particular set of circumstances, and maybe like this character, I too can have a positive outcome. So
Mhm.
I would say that I still have doubts when I sit down to write, but I don't let the doubts keep me back from writing. I don't let them stop me from writing. And on the, I guess, sort of the reverse side of that is that there's sometimes when I'm super confident, oh, everybody's gonna love this, and they don't. But that's
Mhm.
okay too.
Right.
I loved it, and I thought it was a great story. And maybe one day, it may take some time, but one day somebody else is gonna feel that way about it.
Yeah.
So
And that's part of a very good lesson from your journey, that you can impart to young people or even other writers in general, that even though in doubt, you push through and just keep on writing? What other lessons from your journey would you pass on to young readers to carry with them?
I think perhaps being authentic is every writer's goal. And what I mean by that is you have a unique voice. We always talk about the fact that everybody is special in their own way. We are all created uniquely. Even twins are not the same. We
Right.
are all unique individuals, individual souls. We are all distinct.
Mm-hmm.
And with that comes a unique perspective on life. We're all
Mm-hmm.
living life together, but the way
Right.
you see things and the way I see things
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
is different, and there's value in the different perspectives. So I would say if you are sitting at home and you're like maybe 15 or 16, and you're thinking, why is it that I see things so differently from my siblings or from my parents or from my friends? That means you have a unique voice, and you
Right.
need to explore that, and you
Mm-hmm.
need to start journaling, start writing down your thoughts,
Right.
because there is there's something being birthed through you,
Mm-hmm.
in you and through you, that the world is going to find either interesting or quirky or weird, but
Mm-hmm.
you will have impact,
Right.
right? They're not going to walk away from your work and not be impacted in some way. They're not going to be indifferent to what you've done. Somebody somewhere is going to think of what you've written, and it is going to start changing their perspective as well. So having expressing your voice is the perhaps the single most important piece of advice that I would pass on to any writer, young or old. Yeah, you have a voice, and if you want to share that voice, go ahead and share it.
Very good. And why is it important also for these young writers and these young people to hear the voices and stories of other women who came before them?
Well, as the old saying goes, those who don't know their history are doomed to repeat it. Um, I think also that there's value in our stories, and there is just something that within us that responds to seeing the stories of people like ourselves. So woman to woman, black person to black person, Caribbean national to Caribbean national. There is there's just something about resonance that really gives us that sense of connection that we yearn for so much as human beings, and unity. We are born alone, but we are born into families,
Yes.
and we exist as individuals, but we exist in communities,
Mm-hmm.
and we need each other. And there is something about seeing your story reflected back to you that really has value, and it is really important. And I think that reading the stories of the women who came before, it gives you inspiration, it gives you a different perspective. I think for me, just recently I was listening to a pastor who was talking about female missionaries out in the field in places like, now we're talking in the 1880s, when it was a difficult time for women to have that kind of freedom to move around and to, in society. But they persevered, and their stories just blow me away. And, sometimes you think about everything that our ancestors went through, and you're like, what's my excuse? You
Right.
know, you look at your
Mm-hmm.
Harriet Tubmans, you look at
Yes.
your, you know, sorry, I'm drawing blanks right now, but I mean, you're looking at Rosa Parks, you're looking at the ladies from Hidden Figures, the
Maya
mathematician.
Angelou, if you have to call out the
Yeah,
prominent
so yeah, I
writers,
mean,
yes.
when you get
Uh-huh.
started, you just, they just come,
Yes,
one after
yes,
the other. And you look at their stories and the sometimes horrific circumstances that
yeah.
they endured but
Mhm.
overcame. And that resilience and that strength that they demonstrated should inspire us, should move us to do better than
Mhm.
we are at this moment, which isn't to say that we don't look back at what we've achieved and not recognize the value of it. But I think when you look at their stories, it gives you that impetus to want to do more, to want to be greater, I suppose. Um,
Yeah, that's powerful. That's awesome. Wanting to be greater in your own way, not necessarily to the value other people give to it, but powerful to your own self.
exactly. Yeah.
Because if we always have to compare ourselves to others, we always find ourselves wanting,
Oh yes,
and then
definitely. Yeah.
that will keep us forever stalemate.
Yes. That's a very
Oh,
good point.
yeah. Thank you. If a young person today wants to begin writing, or anybody who's listening to this, because it's also targeted at mature audiences and families and caregivers and so basically the village supporting the young persons. What what would you share with them the first step in starting, or their what would their advice be to another young person first step in wanting to write, even though they themselves has have not done any writing?
Okay. So I think you have to think about, what is it you want to say? What is your message? What what do you have to say about your world? Um, do you have an insight that you want to share? Of course, this tends to be more for nonfiction writing.
Mhm.
If you're interested in fiction writing, you want to start with a character who is in a situation, who wants something but actually needs something. So I'm going to break that down.
Mhm.
So when you're doing nonfiction writing, you are sharing thoughts, philosophies, inspiration, mottos, that sort of thing. So you might be working on your biography, for example. Now, a young person might not be working on an autobiography, but maybe they're working on a biography of someone in their family. So you want to always remember that our stories are about humans. So you want to start with, who is my story about? Um, where are they in time? Where are they in their lives? What is their motivation? What is their goal? What is it that what is it that they think they need in order to be happy? And then you ask the other question, what do they actually need? Right? Because you can start off, for example, by, let's say we've got a character who is in a rum shop in a small village in the islands, and he thinks, he's got a lottery ticket, and he thinks that if he can just win the lottery, his life is going to change, right? But is it the money he wants, or is it that there's this girl that he really wants to impress, or he wants to get married, but he doesn't have the lifestyle to offer her? So you kind of work it through that way. So when we're doing journalism, there's some basic questions that you ask, and I think it works well for fiction and maybe even for nonfiction. So it's who, what, where, when, why, how. I probably said that in the wrong order, but
No,
once
no, no. It doesn't matter what other, but
but
that's what you were
there's
taught in composition as well.
yeah,
Even in trying to figure out a plot, you ask these questions to be able to pick out the storyline.
right,
So yeah, that whatever order it comes in, when you're writing, it falls into place.
exactly. So you want to ask those kind of questions about your character. And again, always remember that your story, unless you're doing something that's I'm trying to, I can never say this word, but uh yeah, I'm not even going to bother. When you are trying to, if you're writing a story about an animal that's got humanistic characters, right? Unless you're writing that type of story, your story is always going to be about humans. It's always going to be about a person. So that's where you want to start. You want to start, who's my person? And then you build around that person, right? Around
Mm-hmm.
that character. But all fiction writing tends to boil down to somebody wanting something for some reason. They try to solve their problem. They sometimes fail. They sink into these depths of despair. They figure out what it is they actually need to do. They have an epiphany, and then they have a sort of a climatic moment where they either resolve things or things fall disastrously apart. And then where do they go from there? So that is how I would sum up fiction writing. And of course, there's poetry, there's other types of writing as well. But without making this too long, that's where I would start if um, you wanted to advise a young person where to start. That's a good starting off point.
So I looked up the word where you said, is it the in
And from
a literary device where
Mhm.
animals or objects are given human traits? Is that
That's
it?
right. Yes.
Okay, let me try to say it.
Better you than me. Okay, go.
Here goes. Anthropomorphism. Is that it? Yeah.
That sounds
That sounds
close.
like
It's
it.
anthropomorphic, I think, is
Anthropo is an anthropo and then morphism.
yeah,
Anthropomorphism.
morphic. Yes.
Anthropomorphism.
Yeah.
Anthropomorphism. Okay, we got
Yeah,
it.
I know. It's a tongue twister for sure.
Yes. Anthropomorphism. Yeah, we good. We got it. Yes.
Yay.
So every day we learn something new. And time flies so quickly when you're having fun,
Mm.
Nicole. And I mean, that's just been so interesting listening to your journey from writing in those little blue exercise books with the Dominica map on them.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
I mean these
yeah,
were books.
yeah, man.
You did the Dominica map from this thick, the thick, these lines in between the red lines going across, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's interesting how our personality takes us from one point to another, and then after a certain age, it takes more than our personality; it becomes us.
Mm.
It becomes who we are. It becomes ingrained in who we are. So instead of saying I like to write, it's now I am a writer. I am
So
an author. It is now I am, not I like to. So this is has been interesting to see you develop in that way. I mean, but you're being on the radio and everything else, and you do have you have a presence, and I'm sure it comes off
thank
in
you.
your books as well. What are other than we spoke about being even through being persistent when you're being doubtful and everything else, but we know how the young people can get um what should I say? They can get depressed. They can
Yes.
get lose sight of where it is they want to go to. They can get easily discouraged or afraid to share their voice. What, in addition to what you have shared, okay, yes, we have a voice, we have to share it, but there is still that thing that's pulling them back. What would
Mhm.
you suggest to anybody or to young people in particular, how to go beyond that wall?
I would say, first of all, start writing for yourself. Don't, I have a motto that I'm trying to live by, and it's like, don't die with your story still inside you. And that is profound. That is
Mm-hmm,
profound. So write for yourself, first and foremost.
mm-hmm,
Make your little scribbles, write, keep your journals, your diaries, write
mm-hmm,
your stories, write for yourself. And then when you feel comfortable, share it with someone who you know will be respectful. So you may not necessarily want to share it with a critic, first off,
Mhm.
but write it
Mhm.
with someone who cares about you and understands how important this work is to you,
Mhm.
and take it from there, and find communities, writing communities, where you can be nurtured as a writer. Find writing groups of other youth. Find online, there should be like tons of these type of groups that you can find. I'm not so sure about within Dominica. Writing Writers is a good resource as well. But find like-minded people, find other writers, and share your work with them, and read their work as well, and
Mhm.
have that sort of exchange, so that they can help you grow and you can help them grow as well. And when you're ready, start, looking to, when you're ready to start looking for publishing or editing, try to find professionals in the
Mhm.
field. So I wouldn't necessarily take your first draft to uh, a family member necessarily, unless that person has a background in writing, right?
Okay.
So you want to put your best foot forward, especially when you're ready to publish. So try to find people who are professionals in the field of
Mhm.
editing, writing, that sort of thing. But yeah, that's what I would start with the beginning. Start writing for yourself.
Yeah, and as you said, that try to find people right here. If they do not know where to go, young people, adults, you can send your request or information to the Youth Effect at the Youth Effect 767 at gmail.com if you need questions, if you need resources, if you need direction, if you need guidance. And we will do our best to direct you to the right people.
Mhm.
Okay, the right people, the right resources, so you can bring your story to the world. Just one other question. I'm curious. What keeps you creative? What habit keeps you creative?
That is a very good question. It might surprise you to know that it's not writing. So it's actually I'm inspired by nature. I'm inspired by the beauty that God has created all around us.
Mhm.
I am sometimes inspired by doing other creative things. And that could be from baking to painting to crafting. And traveling is a big inspiration for me. Seeing a new venue, having new
Mhm.
experiences. I
Mhm.
think that that is very crucial to sparking your imagination and giving you fresh perspectives, is
Yeah.
new venues, traveling and seeing the world and seeing other people in the world and how other
Lovely.
cultures interact,
That's awesome. And as we're coming down to the close of our program, Nicole, could in one sentence, could you package what is the power of storytelling?
in one sentence. Oh, okay,
In
Kathy.
one sentence. For a writer with such a creative mind as you, it might be challenging, is it?
uh,
Okay, we can make it two.
okay, no, no, just so ask me the question again.
In a one, I'll change it from one sentence.
No, it's okay.
Package the power of storytelling in as brief as you can
Okay.
for our audience.
Storytelling is our way of sharing ourselves with the world and allowing the world stories to impact us in turn, so that we have this cycle of sharing thoughts and feelings and our humanity.
Mhm.
How's that?
That's perfect. That's awesome. I like about the humanity part because especially because we have to look outside of us, there is so much chaos and
Mm,
such inhumanity that's happening around us that
mhm,
we sometimes we have to really dig deep to remember that the human side of our beings. So I like that. I really, really appreciate that part you put in there, Stefan, to the end about reminding us who we are, reminding us our beingness and our presence in the world, and projecting that out to our neighbors there.
Mhm.
And it's been a joy having this
Aw,
conversation with you, Nicole. It has
thank you. Thank you.
impressive to see your journey from where you have been and where you are now. And it is is very educational what you shared, as well as motivating,
Oh,
empowering. So
yes.
yes, I want to thank you for that as well. And we have to remind our audience that it's not only the young people that can write, that no matter where they are, the best time is now. You mentioned some things about journaling, even though some people never wrote a journal. Take a book and write down one sentence. What does today mean for us as
Yes.
International Women's Day? And you'll be surprised as to
Yeah,
what
the
comes out
ideas,
of it.
the ideas will
How
flow.
what what do you do, or what do you suggest for someone getting into writing, for them to put themselves in the mind and the space and the environment for writing?
I would suggest they start with prompts. What I mean by prompts are they're you could they're like little phrases that just help to jumpstart your thinking. So it
Mm-hmm.
could be as simple as the best thing that happened to me today was,
Mm-hmm.
or the worst thing that happened to me today was,
Mm-hmm.
or it could be what the emotion that I felt today, or I'm sorry, I'm just kind of spitballing
Mm-hmm.
here, but yeah, it could be as simple as, or even today I thought, or today I felt, today I saw, today I heard,
Mm-hmm.
today I smelt.
Mm-hmm.
So you just want to give yourself a little lead, and
Mm-hmm.
then keep going, and just allow your hand. I do prefer writing with pen. My
Mm-hmm.
penmanship is terrible, but I do feel like there's something, and it has actually been proved, or the latest study is that people who write um, tend to stave off Alzheimer's.
Okay.
So to say. So, but yeah, but there's something about writing your thoughts out that gets that flow going.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, of course, we're all on computers and laptops and all of that. But if you
Yeah.
really want to start with your pen and paper. Let's go back to basics,
Yeah.
and just you and your thoughts and that
Mm.
that paper, that pen and
Yeah.
paper.
Yeah. Pen and paper the old way, baby. Let's go with that. Well, whatever makes you comfortable, wherever you feel comfortable, these distractions, and you're in a good space and you have good flow, you stay to relax. Um,
And
so
consistency too. I should mention
consistency.
that being consistent, if you want to be a professional writer, if you want to
Mm-hmm.
really grow your craft,
Mm-hmm.
make the time. Make the time
Okay.
every day, and even if it's 10 minutes a day, and try
Mm-hmm.
to be consistent about it.
Mm. So 10 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day, just sit down and get it done. Even though it's 2 words you wrote down, but do it.
That's 2 words you wrote today that you didn't write yesterday, right?
Yeah, very much so. Well, Nicole, thank you again. Thank you so, so much. What for giving all this advice, telling us about storytelling, your journey, and how to go forward in whatever genre we feel comfortable in having the level of confidence in ourselves to pursue, regardless of whether we anybody might read it today, they might read it tomorrow.
There you go.
So
Yes.
thank you so much, and I wish you all the best. And before we go, could you tell our audience where they can find you, where your books are at, and
Sure.
what you have in the making?
So, thank you, first of all, for having me. It's been a wonderful interaction here, and I'm really passionate about writing. So, I'm very happy to be able to share hopefully, some inspirational advice for
Mm-hmm.
our young folks. And you can find my books on Amazon.com. So, you just look up Nicole Georges Bennett. If you just type in my type that into the search bar. My books will come out. I've got about 10 or 12 of them now. I kind of lost track a little bit. But yeah, so that's where you can find my books. And currently, I'm actually writing fiction, historical fiction with my good friend Sam George, who's an up-and-coming author. And we are writing a murder mystery thriller set in Dominica in 1979. So
I love the you too. I
it's
understand. I can.
very
For
interesting
those of
year.
us who are Dominicans, yes, we can pick up on the 1979 and historical as a little hint.
There you
So
go. So so
yes,
we're very excited
looking
about
forward to
that.
reading it.
Thank you, thank you. We're very excited, and we really think that this is going to be the one to put us on the map.
Awesome. Yes, great. I wish you all the best. I wish Sam all the best. And thank you once again. And with
You're
that,
very
we want to
welcome.
say thank you. We'll see you again sometime to come bring you back onto
Oh,
our
I would love
program
to.
on the
I would
UPFF.
love to.
Okay. Thank you, Nicole. Good night.
Good night. Take care.
So I want to thank you again for being there with us and being fully present and spending this precious time with us. Your time is always, always, always important to us. And you're listening and watching The Youth Effect. My name is Kathy Robinson Sayan, and I want to also thank you for supporting me in my journey in doing this. As I'm going along, I'm learning much better than where I was before and getting better for you, the audience, in bringing the young people's voices to you. Remember, we're here every Monday nights, 8 to 9:30 p.m. Know that all our times are synced. It's much easier now for those in the Caribbean. Their time is same time with us. And looking forward to seeing you next week. We'll have a great program for you as well. Stay tuned. Come on in. Bring your friends. See you next week. And in this light, have an awesome, awesome, awesome week. Till then, good night.
Yeah, wouldn't ends. We back with another one for the youths in them. Yeah, young, brilliant minds, future in sight. Got the power to make change, make the world ignite. Let nobody say you can't achieve. Your dreams are seeds, sow and just watch them grow. But you gotta believe in the youth effect. We're raising up the youth effect. Can't hold us down. The youth effect, we breaking ground. The youth effect, they gonna hear us roar. Educate, we get the key, unlock the potential. A lesson every day, knowledge essential. Standing tall, walking proud, let your voice be heard. Unite together as one, spread the love with every word. The youth effect, we're raising up. The youth effect, can't hold us down. The youth effect, we breaking ground. The youth effect, they gonna hear us roar. Educate, we get the key, unlock the potential. A lesson every day, knowledge essential. Standing tall, walking proud, let your voice be heard. Unite together as one, spread the love with every word. The youth effect, we're raising up. The youth effect, can't hold us down. The youth effect, we breaking ground. The youth effect, they gonna hear us roar. Create, initiate, push through, no limits. Go ahead and live it up. Respect, positivity, you on your way. Break down walls, build bridges.